Today on Review Hex, we tackle Season 1, Episode 2 of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The episode entitled High Five. So this episode seemed to be more of a trainee episode and conquering her fear of heights. And again, this is episode 2. I said how quickly episode 1 they went from not knowing anything about this other world and stuff going on to now, by the end of that episode, being Rangers, just jumping right into it in a quick matter, like riding a bike. And I said that's probably because they're handcuffed with the Japanese footage. So they're trying to make the best of it. So we get that origin story. Now we're here for episode 2. Let's get into it. Once again, we're at the Ernie's Juice Bar. And a lot of activities going on, as always. Trini still seems to be practicing her chi, her martial arts poses. Jason is climbing a rope, a gym rope. I don't know if they still do this in school, but back when I was in school, we had a rope that we could climb that was similar to this. Anyway, Jason climbs the rope and Trini seems spooked, displaying her fear of heights. And she's warning Jason about being too high, that he could get hurt. Billy comes over and Jason just drops right on his neck, teabagged him. And he's basically on Billy's shoulders. And that's kind of our early episode activities. Meanwhile, back at the Moon Palace, Rita's planning to capture the Rangers in a time warp, just like Zordon. And that's her plan this week. Back to the Rangers. So, I talked about in episode 1 how Billy seems to be the least skilled in martial arts. He hasn't shown much of an ability to fight yet. Obviously, we can see he's super smart. We see him use his biggest skill at this point, which is his brain. And he explains the devices that he has created. I can't stress enough how good Trini is early. I said Jason and Zach seem to be the top Rangers right now. These are the guys that seem to have confidence in fighting. And Jason's got his martial arts. Zach has his variation of martial arts, which is hip-hop keto. Trini has her kind of style as well. These three are solid Rangers already. Kim and Billy. Kimberly's okay so far. Billy, like I said, besides showing his genius, he hasn't shown yet that he is a fighter. And we're also seeing that Trini is also intelligent as well, because she can, while nobody else understands what Billy is saying, Trini can be his translator. Billy has created the communicators, the world famous communicators, where they could communicate with one another. Zordon could communicate with them, and they can teleport back and forth. And that's what ends up happening, I think, kind of messing around with the communicators, and they end up teleporting to the command center. Alpha greets him, and Alpha is trying to speak cool like teenagers speak. And I also put in my notes that this Command Center theme song, and it isn't the regular one. This one's a different variation of the regular Command Center theme that we hear throughout the series. And I love this this kind of theme that they had going in the Command Center at this point. Meanwhile, we get our monster of the week. Finster makes bones. Then Rita sends down a mini space shuttle downtown Angel Grove / it doesn't look anything like, to me, an American city, because obviously this is Japanese footage. Obviously this spaceship has something to do with creating this time warp. So as Rita's doing her thing and creating this time warp, the Command Center alarm goes off, I think for the first time, with the Rangers there. And they are made aware that Rita's up to something. And he sends the Rangers to investigate that while they do their own evaluation in the Command Center. So obviously at this point, Rita sends the putties. And I can't remember, but someone was ready to morph immediately, and Jason says, here's some mini story progression of the Rangers trying to learn to be Rangers that we didn't really get from the first episode, because it seems like they went from being regular teenagers to already knowing everything there was about being Rangers. But in this case, Jason says Zordon has instructed him to only use those morphers when it's absolutely necessary. Let's see if they can take the putties without morphing. And that's what they do. They go in the fight. And once again, as I said before, Jason and Zach still confident. Even to the point that they're sitting here dapping each other up in the middle of a fight here. That's how confident they are. So they come up with a plan to split up, to kind of disperse the putties out. Billy decides to climb a mini mountain. Once again, Billy isn't doing any fighting. He's running. He gets basically to the top of this mini mountain, and he's immediately reaching for his morpher and drops it down the hill. He's in trouble. And this is where we get one of the famous scenes from Trini. Billy, you're too high. Again, Trini has that fear of heights. Even seeing people go up heights makes her cringe. We saw it with her warning Jason when he climbed the rope. Seeing Billy run up this mountain, she's also in fear. But she knows Billy's in trouble and she has to do something. Because Billy's up there screaming for help. And Trini's the only one who can help him. So she overcomes her fear. And as I said before, confident, telling the putties to come on. Putties charge at her. She moves out the way. They jump and they go down the hill. Meanwhile, the other three are being surrounded by putties. Now, this is the crazy part of the episode for me. Because I said in the last episode, when Goldar came down, it appeared that he was winning versus the Megazord. And they called for the Power Sword, and he just ran away. Well, the putties have gotten the better of Jason, Zach, and Kimberly. But what are they doing with them? They're not trying, I don't know. They're not trying to kill him. They're not trying to do anything to him. It looked like one big group hug. The putties just surrounded them and basically giving them a group hug. That's it. That's all they did. So this makes me question the motives of Rita. Is she actually here to conquer Earth? Or is she here to play? Because this is once again, she's not doing anything to try to beat the Rangers. She says she's trying to capture them, but the putties have them, and they're just giving them a group hug. This was one big group hug. After Trini and Billy disperse of their putties, thanks to the Trini going up there and saving Billy, they come down and they break up the group hug that the putties are giving Zach, Kim, and Jason. Then they form this human chain thing where it's just a weird thing where one person is laying over Jason's shoulders and another person's hanging over the feet of the person hanging on Jason's shoulders and spin around, and that takes the putties out. This is the first Rangers win against the putties without being morphed in history. Now Bones has been sent to action, and it's morphin' time. During this battle, they blow Bones to pieces several times, caught into this little time warp dimension they're in, but Bones keeps coming back together. Someone comes up with the answer to beating Bones is to destroy his head. Eventually, they get the better of him. They throw his head into a lava pit, and that's it for Bones. Suddenly, out of nowhere, after they've thrown Bones' head in a lava pit, a giant comes out of nowhere and grabs Jason. He gets free, and he calls for the Zords. Well, he calls for his Zord, the T-Rex. And we get the giant versus the Tyrannosaurus. And the Tyrannosaurus comes out victorious in that fight. And the Rangers are victorious in another battle versus Rita. Word is now getting around as we're back at the juice bar and our heroes are sitting together, I guess with their smoothies, and Ernie is talking about the Rangers. Word is getting around about the Rangers in Angel Grove. Billy also discussed that the communicators have been fixed and now they're working properly. His new invention, that they can communicate with each other, the command center, and teleport. And I found it funny that Kimberly said, "This is so 90s, those communicators. Space age technology in the 90s. And it's funny now that we have this day and age, we got watches that actually do that. Anyway, Zach is looking like he's up to something as he re-enters the juice bar. He puts on a mask, scares Trini, and Trini goes right up the rope, showing that she no longer has a fear of heights. The only thing you have to fear is fear itself. And that's our episode. So final thoughts on this episode. I thought this one was essentially a Trini progression episode. It was about overcoming her fear of heights. And the Rangers kind of made some progression as well, as they were able to defeat the putties as a team without Morphin. My issue with the episode, though, is definitely that the enemy seems to be here to actually play around with the Rangers more than trying to defeat them and take over the world. So this seems to be the ongoing theme of what's going on here with the Rangers. Episode 1, they seem to have the Rangers in trouble, and Goldar just left. The putties have Zach, Jason, Kimberly in a bad spot, and they just did one big group hug on them. They basically gave Zach, Trini, and Jason a group hug, and other than that, they weren't trying to do anything. So that's my issue at the moment, is that If Rita's here just to play around with the Rangers, then state that. If Rita's here to actually conquer Earth, then I need to see it. So final score on this episode, I'm giving this one a 6.9. It was a pretty good episode. Love the Trini stuff. Other than the Trini stuff, I don't know. It was just pretty decent. So until next time, I'm JohnHexx, and I am out.